Welcome to the Save the Frogs World Summit. Happy Save the Frogs Day. This is the 13th annual Save the Frogs Day, April 24th, 2021, the last Saturday of April. Happy to have you here. And so right now I'm going to announce some Save the Frogs grants winners. And I don't have anything formally prepared for this, so I'm just going to give you some thoughts and let you know what took place. All right, so we had 29 grant applications submitted, requesting a total of $39,430, which is clearly more than we have the funds to provide. And that will pretty much always be the case with just about any kind of grants that you apply for. There's more people applying for more money than the grantors tend to have, and therefore not everybody gets funded. And generally speaking, not everyone should get funded because some applications are quite honestly not very well thought out or not very well written, unclear. But some of them are good, and it's my goal that grant applications and projects that Save the Frogs funds, projects that we fund, get better and better over time. We want you to have grant writing abilities so that you can write up grants that get funded, whether that's from Save the Frogs or other organizations. There are tons of organizations on this planet that give out money to fund environmental efforts. You have to find them. You've got to learn about them. You've got to read through what they want. You've got to prepare your application so that when they read it, they say, this is what we like to fund. And this person knows what's going on. They've got a creative, interesting, important project that they have stated clearly what they're going to do. And we can trust that if we send them money, they're going to get good things done to help us fulfill our mission. So first, let me just say the winners, and I'll say another thing. We've got 4 awards that we're giving out right now. Okay, so 4 applicants will be receiving money right now or in the very near future. But we also have 9 applicants who we have put on hold. That means we did not assess your application, or perhaps we assessed it and it's good enough to not get denied, but because of COVID and the threat of COVID and the project descriptions, which would have brought people together, especially in places where we expect that not many people have been vaccinated, we are not prepared to give out funding for those projects. So we have just set them on hold. I guess I can go ahead and say who those are. Vivek Gautam, Dunham PK, Sabit Hassan, Tanya Akhtar, who sent me an awesome photo today, Ramesh Rajbanshi, Fuzzle Ruby, who's here right now, Sajib Biswas, Suman Sapkota, and Fuzzle Rabi with a second application. So all those are on hold. So when the threat of COVID declines and we feel comfortable funding projects that bring people together in those parts of the world, then we will reassess those grant applications and we will contact you to give you a final decision or to seek more info to see if you are still prepared to lead those projects. All right, so who are we giving funds to and where are they from? There's 4 awardees from 4 different countries, or we'll say representing 4 different countries anyway. USA, India, Mexico, and Peru. So let's start with the first one, USA. And we are going to deliver $1,164 to Eric Stitt and his team. And he has partnered with a couple universities in California to go sampling using eDNA techniques. Okay, so I believe what that is instead of having to catch an amphibian, what you can do is sample some water and see if there is environmental DNA. Is the DNA of that species in the water? And then you can tell something about the presence, absence of the species. And that is for the northern leopard frogs, which are generally not thought to live or have lived in California, but they have been found recently, and they want to do sampling throughout the range to determine more about the distribution of that species, and ideally from there develop some conservation planning. What did I like about the application? Written in perfect English, very clear on what needed to be done, letters of reference from collaborative partners at universities, related work that had been funded by other organizations in the past, relevance to amphibian conservation, ability to get the word about Save the Frogs out to an important community of amphibian conservationists, namely those university partners, and a whole lot of experience in the world of amphibian and biological research from the applicant, Eric Stitt. So congratulations, Eric Stitt. Next up, Sarbani Nag, who unfortunately I made a mistake a couple hours ago and got the times of presentations mixed up, and she, because of that mix-up, she was not able to give her presentation on the tail of a tailed amphibian today, but we will get her speaking at an upcoming Save the Frogs office hours. Go to savethefrogs.com/office and you can register for the upcoming Save the Frogs office hours, during which myself and Mike Horton answer questions. And what else do we do during office hours that I was thinking of when reviewing these grants? And I'm not the only person reviewing the grants. I don't have the 100% authority to make these decisions, or maybe I do, but I choose to not. We have a grants committee. I have other people review grants, give me their thoughts. We discuss it all together, and conclusions are drawn based on the group discussion. So you can't just say, it's not me. This is a committee of people who've been reviewing these grants, and some of these people have reviewed and applied for many, many, many grants in their careers. So why did I bring that up? Save the Frogs office hours. You want to win money for your Save the Frogs, your potential project. Why not attend Save the Frogs office hours and say, hey, here's the project I have in mind. What do you think about this? Why not go over to the Save the Frogs Discord server, savethefrogs.com/Discord, and post up information about your potential project. Nobody's going to steal your project. Don't worry about it. There's a billion ideas in the world and very small number of people who are prepared to implement those ideas. Go over there. Post up your project description. Post your budget. Post your idea and say, hey, what do you all think about this? And get some input so that by the time you submit that application, it's not just it's not a rough draft. Essentially what we received from these 29 applicants, many of them, I'll say 23 of them, were what I'd consider a rough draft. Like, this is, hey, it's good, you got a good idea, but let's get it cleaned up. Let's go through some iterations. An iPhone, this is an amazing piece of technology, and it's got cool stickers, and I can even pull out a sticker right from the back of it to give to somebody. But the iPhone, this is not version 1 of the iPhone, okay? This is like version, who knows what, 12, 13, 14. It goes through iterations. Do that with your grants. Use the Save the Frogs community to help you develop a project that cannot be refused because it's such a great project, because you've already been in touch with Save the Frogs, with me. You've been taking advantage of the free resources that are available. Margo Fass asks, why is it called Discord? Because the developers of Discord wanted to name it that. And they did name it something else. When you log into Discord, it shows you a fact for like a second while it loads. And one of them said the original name. But yeah, it's not, I didn't create Discord. Discord's got hundreds of millions of users. It is highly advanced, really awesome software. So I just call it our Discord community so that you know it's over at Discord. It's not at Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg's not trying to steal your information. He's not looking at it. Nobody's determining an algorithm to see what you see. It's a much cooler place to hang out than anything Mark Zuckerberg ever created. Nothing against him. And I do appreciate everyone who's ever held a Facebook fundraiser or an Instagram fundraiser for Save the Frogs or donated to one. And I do appreciate the fact that Facebook and Instagram have enabled those technologies to make it easy for people to donate and to send that money without any transaction fees over to Save the Frogs. Moving onwards. Next winter, Sarbani Nag of India, Kolkata, and Sarbani helped me organize the Save the Frogs 2019 World Summit in Calcutta, a live event with a couple hundred people who showed up over the course of 2 days. And I'll tell you what, from watching her get stuff done, that makes me know that if we send her money, she's going to get stuff done. So that's another fact of grant giving, grant receiving. If you've already made it clear to the organization that you get stuff done, then they're going to be a lot more willing to give you funds. And along the lines of what I was saying before, I've been in discussion with Sarbani for a long time. So it's not as if she just sent in an application, I'd never heard of the project, and then I have to decide whether it's good or not. We've been in touch for a long time, so that goes a long way. So get to know your grantors. Show up at their free events. Show up at this event. Show up at office hours. Hang out in the Discord community, savethefrogs.com/Discord. I'm going to chat that in again. Hopefully you've all popped on over there. It's free. You don't have to pay for the nitro boost that they may offer to you. It's all free. And so what's Sarbani doing? Sarbani took it upon herself to legally register a Save the Frogs India nonprofit organization, officially called a trust in India, with the government of India. And from my experience, I know that that does a lot for ensuring the future of the organization. It's a big step as far as responsibility, but to have an officially registered organization, you get a lot more potential for success. And so she set up Save the Frogs India, and we are awarding her $3,231 to implement Indian amphibian conservation and to coordinate our very wide network of volunteers throughout India. And hopefully we'll send some more funds her way later this year. Why not send it all at once? Because I want to see what can you do with the money? What are you going to do? If it's your first time receiving money from Save the Frogs, you're probably not going to get the biggest award we've ever given. We want to give you some money. Make sure that you do what you say you're going to do, or do the best job that you can to get the project done. What else would I want to see other than you getting the job done? What if you get the job done and you never say a word to me? How much does that help Save the Frogs? We gave you money. You went out, implemented a fabulous project, and we never heard anything about it. Any of you who have been through academia, can you imagine receiving money or not receiving money, but conducting a scientific project and getting all this data and not publishing your paper? Raphael, if you're still there, can you just chat in? Would you be happy with a student of yours who collected tons of awesome data and never published it? You'd probably consider it, as I would, an unfinished project. Same goes with Save the Frogs. What do we want? We want to see the publication. What is the publication in our world? Article on the website, YouTube video on the Save the Frogs channel, something that conveys to the world that Save the Frogs and our community and our grant recipients get good things done for the amphibians, not just to promote Save the Frogs, but to share your work and to educate and inspire future amphibian conservationists. So that is part of the whole deal. You go out and do something good, looks good on your resume, you hopefully have fun and learn a lot and do something good for the amphibians of your area, and you hopefully get some good experience writing up a final report or an article or articles for the Save the Frogs website, newsletter, social media, and that reflects well on you as well because people start to hear about you and your work. So let's see. Next up, Annie Peralta of Mexico. I should be saying these people's organization's name, and her organization name is Fauna del Norro, Fauna of the Northwest. She's in northwestern Mexico, and this is not just Annie. This is a collaborative project with Kathleen Osagi, Kathleen Franco, formerly known, who worked for Save the Frogs for many years and has developed Save the Frogs wetland materials, including the 4 videos we're going to post in the wetlands course of Save the Frogs Academy any day now. And Tom Biebighauser, who is in Tahoe National Forest right now with Save the Frogs volunteers and the U.S. Forest Service and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and some other agencies, government employees, nonprofit organizations building wetlands for California red-legged frogs. California red-legged frog actually has a range extending down into northwest Mexico, and Annie and her team will be, with these funds, scouting out and designing wetlands for those frogs to regrow the population of California red-legged frogs in Mexico. And the next step for building wetlands, there's essentially 2 steps. Design your wetland, which means find the land and design your wetland and get permissions. And then the next step is to return to the site with your crew and build the wetlands. All right, and then next up, Tracy Stetzinger, representing Grupo Rana, NGO Grupo Rana from Peru. And what did I like about this? $1,800. Annie, if I didn't say it, $1,000 for those wetlands. Grupo Rana, $1,800. What do I like about this? From the start, Peruvian amphibians, highly threatened, important part of the world, and Luis Castillo Roque of Grupo Rana gave an excellent presentation at last year's World Summit. Well thought out presentation. Not only that, he spread the word and got like 40 people to show up for the presentation. So what's that say about this project? They're probably going to have a good, thorough final report. We can probably get them on to give a presentation next year, and it's going to be a good presentation. He's going to spread the word about Save the Frogs. A lot of people are going to learn about the project. And if his last presentation was good, it was good because the work that Grupo Rana is doing is good and important, and we wanted to support that. And with all 4 of these are not let's gather 100 people together in a small space and talk about frogs, because we're in a time of COVID. So as I said before, we've got 9 projects on hold that were related to getting people together. All 4 of these projects, and I haven't told you what this project is yet, but they're out in the field, open air. You don't need to have tons of people in close proximity to each other, so we like that. So what is this project? This project is, a lot of it is funding the field equipment that they need to go out there and do their research on a couple species of I believe Tobias frogs. Let me just confirm that. What species they're working on at Lake Junin in Peru. Endemic, endangered Tobias species, the giant frog of Lake Junin and Tobias. So it's Tobias macrostomus and Tobias brachydactylus. Okay, so important work that needs to get done on endangered amphibians. And what they're going to do is they're going to be going out in the field to collect environmental data that they will use to protect those frogs. Who are they going to collect the data with? They're teamed up with local schools. That's something Save the Frogs definitely likes. So it's got a research component. It's got a public education component. The writing was in perfect English. That's another thing. I know that not everyone speaks perfect English and writes perfect English if you're not a native English speaker. Some people are native English speakers and don't write perfect English, and that's too bad. But in this world, you should be always working on your English writing abilities, because when I open something up and it's just visually, even aside from was the English correct, it probably wouldn't even have mattered, because sometimes people, they got these huge like run-on paragraphs and they got just bad looking grammar and punctuation. It's just like visually, aesthetically ugly and hard to read. I want it clean. Like, give me a paragraph that's a chunk of text that all relates to each other. Put a space, put another paragraph, make it easy to read and follow your stream of thought. Why do I care about that? Because I'm the one who's got to put the articles up on the website, and I'm not going to put bad grammar in English on the website. So if I know you write well, I know I'm going to get a good article that can quickly get up to the website. And who are you going to get to clean up your writing if you're not a native English speaker? Get on the Save the Frogs Discord community and ask for some assistance. Come to Save the Frogs office hours. Say, hey, I've got this really awesome project. You know anyone who can help ensure the English is well written? Because if, say that your project is precisely equal in quality to someone else's project, but your writing is not in good English and the other person's is, they're going to win the grant. So is it important? Yes, it's important. It should be. I'll say one of the single most important career improvements that any person can make in this field for certain is to always be working on your English. Until you really think that you can write English like a native speaker, you should always be studying English and reading English. So again, I do understand it's difficult speaking a foreign language. I speak a couple foreign languages, and I'm not writing. I speak pretty good Spanish. I'm not going to write in perfect Spanish, but I know that if I need to submit something super important in Spanish, I'm going to find and potentially even pay someone to review it. You can get on Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, Upwork.com. Is it worth you paying someone $20 to review your paper? Probably, if there's a lot of money involved and the prestige that comes with it, the line on your CV, the increased chance of getting grants in the future, the increased chance of getting accepted into a master's or PhD program. Is it worth it? Yes. So you've heard me say it now. You may have heard me say it before. Why do I repeat myself? Because it's important to me. So let's see what else I have to say about this. What about grants? So congratulations to the winners, who I don't even know if any of them are on here right now. I'd sure like it if they would be, because here's what's going to happen going forward. This was somewhat experimental. We have a page on our site. We said, everybody, hey, if you're out there in the world, you want to help amphibians, go apply. Okay. Why did I want to do that? Because I like to see what people can come up with, and I like to give people the opportunity to benefit from, if they do good work. But at the same time, as I said, most of the applications we got, they're kind of like rough draft form. Like it's not a perfected, it's not the greatest. Well, there's a couple of things. How well thought out is the project? If it goes through iterations, if you're talking with the funder, if you're talking with other experts, if you're communicating with people about the project, if it's developed over time, it's going to be a lot better. If you're involved actively in the Save the Frogs community, I'm going to care a lot more about funding your project than if it's someone who I never hear from. So do I ever hear from these 4 people? Yeah, I hear from Sarbani all the time, and I'm in touch with Annie. Tracy, we've never spoken before, but I know that her group, I like the group Orana because they gave a presentation last year. I can tell that they're a well-run group and they do good work. Eric, I'd never heard of him before. Will they be involved going forward in the Save the Frogs community? I certainly hope so. But definitely going forward for grants, my preference is to develop grant projects with people. Who are the people? The people who show up in Save the Frogs office hours, the people who hang out in the Save the Frogs Discord community. So I keep mentioning it. Yeah, it's brand new, but I know how it works. I know that it's the chat room. We get people together, we communicate. You're there, I can see what you're doing, and I know who you are. I know what's going on. You can get direct feedback from me, and you can get direct feedback from other amphibian experts. And over time, it's easy for me to tell you are the kind of person who should be doing a Save the Frogs project that Save the Frogs can potentially fund. Let's talk about your project. Let's make sure your project is going to be the best that it can be so that when we do give funds out, we know that the project is going to succeed. Here's something else on the topic of these grant applications. When the question was, and we're going to change this in the future so that we've separated give us the background, give us everything we need to know, like what are these, what's the deal with the frogs that you're interested in, or the amphibians. Give us all that background info. That will get separated from what we currently have, which was called proposed activities. So it all got lumped in there because really the background info is different than the proposed activities. A funder does not want to give you money if they don't know what you're going to do. In the proposed activities is the section where you say precisely what you're going to do. Not like, we're going to hold stakeholder meetings. Next topic, we're going to go run some transects for frogs. Like, we want to know in detail, and I know there's like limited to, I don't know what it said, 500 words or something. It's not that much, but in those 500 words, you've got to be very, very clear on precisely what you're going to do. If you say, we're going to hold educational events at schools, okay. Can you give us some more info? Do you know what school it is? Have you partnered with a school yet? You know what the topic is going to be? You want money to print out flyers? Have you designed a flyer yet? No? Okay, you don't have a graphic designer. That's fine. Have you thought of the text that's going to be on the flyer? Can you put that into the application? Here's what the flyers say. Or even allude to the fact that you've thought of it. Or what I'm getting at is, whatever you're going to do, don't make the grantor have to guess. I don't want to guess anything. I want to know what you're going to do. And precisely related to that is, don't make me guess how you're going to spend the money. And don't ask for money that you did not, for something that was not described in the proposed activities. The proposed activities lead to the budget. What are you going to do? If I were applying for a grant, I'd want to know, how much do they offer? How much should I ask for? They say, okay, they give $10,000. I've never heard of them. They've never heard of me. Maybe I'll ask for $10,000, but maybe I'll just say like, $9,300. Just, close to the top, but not everything. Not a hard and fast rule, but whatever it is, I come up with my number, $9,300. I think of my proposed activities, and I need the budget to relate precisely to those and to add up precisely to the number that I said I'm asking for. If I said $9,300, is what I'm asking for, and my budget adds up to $9,200 or $8,500 or $10,100, big problem. So, and I see that all the time. The numbers don't add up to what you asked for. Here's one reason they don't add up, because a lot of people still use Microsoft Word to list out, like, I'm going to type in a line and that's 200, and then here's a line, and then you got to do math in your head or on a calculator, and you change one thing and you forget. You must use a spreadsheet or a database. Okay? Do not ever create a budget in Microsoft Word. Use the proper technology. Okay? Because those numbers must be correct. A funder doesn't want to give you money if you can't do math, or if your technology, or if you don't know how to use technology to do the math for you. So make sure that your numbers are all correct. And how I'm connecting it, propose activities to budget. I saw a lot of budgets and they're asking for money for things that were not discussed in the proposed activities. Or maybe, yeah, so essentially that. Don't put anything in your budget that was not discussed in the proposed activities, because then I'm put back in the position, or not just me, the Save the Frogs Grants Committee or whatever grantor you've submitted your application to is put into the position of having to guess what you're spending your money on and to determine, did you think it out? And then with budgets also, don't just put in like printed materials, $400, gas, $200, salary, $100. It's like those numbers, they're so perfectly, they're so 200. You guessed the number. Okay, that's fine. At least justify it. Say like, 50 miles at $4 per mile equals 200 or something, so that we know that some thought went into it and it's not just numbers thrown out into the air. Don't make me guess. Don't make me second guess anything. Give the precise info. Budget's very important. Don't use Microsoft Word. If there's anything you got from all this, don't ever put a budget into Microsoft Word. All right. So I've been talking about a lot of the issues with the grants because it's important to me and it's important to you if you're ever applying for grants. But I do also want to say these are the vast majority of these, 29 projects that got submitted, of which 4 were funded, 9 are currently on hold, waiting for COVID to subside. Most of these are important projects, and we would love to be able to fund them all. Even more than that, we'd love to be able to develop the projects with you so that they are optimized projects and not just rough drafts of projects. And I understand some of these projects we're only asking for a few $100s, and you don't have, you don't need to spend many hours or days or whatever to when you ask for a small amount of money. And that's one reason it's best, if you're going to apply for a project, it takes time to submit a grant application and to write it all up. So it is good to ask for on the higher side, as long as you're going to spend it and you need it. But whatever the case is, I do understand in some cases, like, it's hard to dedicate a lot of time to a project that, people are busy. But I'm just giving you this knowledge because at some point in your career, if you're in an environmental career and you're dependent on grant funding, you're not always going to be asking for $250. You may one day be asking for $250,000 or $2.5 million. And if you don't have the fundamentals of grant writing that I have been discussing right now, then you're not going to get to that point. And you're probably not going to get a $2.5 million grant unless you've gotten a $250 grant and a $2,500 grant and a $25,000 grant, and you've built up your grant writing experience, your project implementation experience, your project reporting experience. So on the topic of project reporting and winning grants and getting the next grant, always apply. Put it on your calendar. When you get a grant, put it on your calendar. When's the grant report due? Make sure it gets in. And when's the next time you can ask that same funder for money? Because the funder, if they know they've given you money, you did a good job, you write up a good grant report, you're making the funder happy. and they're going to be ready to give you funds again. I think that's all I have to say. Obviously, I could talk about this for a long time. Go into savethefrogs.com/academy and go to the fundraising course. It's the last one down there. I can't remember what's in there, but we definitely have something in there that you should watch. Go to the savethefrogs.com/grants page, and I'm pretty sure I embedded a video of our Save the Frogs grants discussion from, I think it was in January. We talked all about Save the Frogs grants. That's a good video to watch if you ever apply for a Save the Frogs grant. And there is one more video that I just found from like 5 years ago. You know what you can do? Look at this. I like educating people about one of the coolest things on our website, and that is, let's see what we got here. All right, Save the Frogs website. At the very top right, hey, you can find a lot of stuff with this. It's a search bar. Fundraising. So I'm going to type it in right there, and let's see what we get. Fundraising 101, learn how to raise money for a cause. Save the Frogs Academy fundraising class video. Grants discussion. Another grants discussion. And so some of those are certainly bound to be what you're looking for. What I was saying, though, there is a probably 2014 video on fundraising that I will also add to Save the Frogs Academy. And so I'm open for questions. And if you applied for a grant, I know there's several of you here right now who did apply for a grant, or at least 2 of you. And as I said, we like a lot of the projects. We will fund more projects this year. Probably there will be more grants funded later on this year. And I hope you got some good takeaways. This is, I'm only speaking for myself and the Save the Frogs grant team primarily right now. But a lot of what I said, I bet 90% of it would be in common agreement if you spoke with other grant giving organizations. So if you have questions, send them in. If you want me to unmute you, I could potentially do that. But certainly if you have a question and want to chat it in, anything related to Save the Frogs grants, do that. And let's see. This was actually intended to be the Save the Frogs Q&A happening right now. And so, yeah, it doesn't even have to be about grants. If you have a question about anything, frog, amphibian, Save the Frogs, or environmental, go ahead and send that in. And maybe while I await any questions, since I've been talking nonstop for the last half hour, and thank you for listening. Happy Save the Frogs Day. The question comes in, when is the next grant call? When is the next grant call? That is a very good question. And that's what I was just discussing with the grants team about the future of Save the Frogs grants. We like giving out grants. That's one reason I founded Save the Frogs. We've given out to date, not including these ones announced today, over $101,000 in grants, which is significant. It's certainly, we're not the biggest grant giving organization. We are a nonprofit organization. We ask for money. We occasionally apply for grants ourselves. But we like to empower the Save the Frogs community and ensure that the next generation, or the current generation, the leading generation, as is in your case, Raphael, that you may be referring to your students as well. We want to make sure that people can benefit from the amphibian conservation funds that we are fortunate to receive from our valued donors, of which there are some on the line right now. Thank you for your donations. So, yeah, here's what I've been thinking about. if I put it out there, hey, everybody out there in the world, apply for a grant if you want a grant. We're going to get a lot of grants that are, apologies for the term, kind of rough drafts that could be better. They're not polished gems, but they could be. And we're going to get a lot of grant applications from people who have never been involved in the Save the Frogs community. And aside from maybe getting that grant money and submitting their final report, may never be involved in the Save the Frogs community to any greater extent than just getting that money, which, is fine. But again, who do I want to give funds to? I want a long-term relationship with a grant recipient. I want that person to be around and to be helping out the Save the Frogs community in general. So what we're currently deciding is, do we want to do it like this again in the future, where it's just, hey, there's a call for grants, anyone can apply? Or do we want to just say, hey, here's this person who's actively involved in the Save the Frogs community, who gives presentations at the World Summit, who shows up at Save the Frogs office hours, who sends me an email every now and then, who posts in our Facebook group, which I'm not too concerned about because I'm much more into Discord these days. Someone who's actively involved in Save the Frogs, who I know, this person likes Save the Frogs, they understand Save the Frogs, they do important work, we've got some money, let's talk to them, find out what they're up to, develop a project together to Save the Frogs. And if you've been around with Save the Frogs for a long time, we know who you are. Every email that comes in, I see the email. Every donation that comes in to Save the Frogs, I see the donation. If you've been around for a while, I recognize your name. So so I don't know if I answered that question. I don't think I did. If we do it the same exact way, it'll be just as what's written on the webpage, which will be like February or so. I think February 28th is what we have up on the website, something like that, early 2022. But we may transition into developing projects with people. And would we then accept grants? Because here's the other thing, it takes a long time to review grants. And I do like to be able to tell people, as I plan to do, everyone who applied for the grant, once I get some time, I am going to send, like, here's some bullet points that the grants committee said, here were some good things you did, here were some points of improvement. And that helps to educate the grant writers. But, we in general, everybody on the grants team is very busy. It takes a long time to review the grants. So in some respect, it takes a lot of time to train someone up and to develop a project with them too, but at least then we know that the final result is a very well thought out and implemented and reported grant project. So I don't have a precise answer for you, but if you have a project in mind, certainly want to hear about it. All right, let's see what else came in here. All right, from Margot. Happy Save the Frogs Day. Happy Save the Frogs Day to you, Margot. And how many Save the Frogs days have you been involved with? Many of them. So thank you for that. And Fuzzle says, I missed the presentation of the summit last night. I could not join the meeting. Hope the videos will be uploaded in the website. They will be. And we have videos from last year's World Summit that still have not been. I have a big queue, but I do have a video volunteer now. I do need a couple more video volunteers because traditionally I edit the videos. It takes a long time to edit video, upload video, create a website, a web page for the video. So, but yeah, we have all of this recorded and it will get uploaded. Where's it going to get uploaded to? Save the Frogs Academy. Some of them may go up to YouTube, but they're going to be in Save the Frogs Academy for the permanent record. All right, so the question is from Donna. Are you still having a Save the Frogs poetry contest? Have you considered having a short story contest or photography contest? We did one year have a Save the Frogs essay contest. We had a Save the Frogs video contest. We've had a Save the Frogs photo contest. Which ones will return? I'd love to say that the poetry contest will return this year. but I've been saying that for a couple years. So there's only so many things we have the capacity to implement well, but each year that we do it, it gets easier. Like this World Summit, I had a little bit of volunteer help. I didn't have much though, and I didn't start organizing anything for this World Summit until a week ago. Last year it took 2 weeks with a volunteer. Next year it'll be a lot faster, and we won't wait till the last minute. Save the Frogs art contest. It was put to rest for a few years, and then I revived it last year. Why did it take so long to revive it? Because it takes a lot of time to develop it into the perfected state that I like it to be, which it is right now. Will it take a lot of time this year? No. It's already running. It's up, savethefrogs.com/art. And so each year, as I get these projects revitalized and modernized, it takes a lot of time to do it right. But the next year, it doesn't take so much time, and that frees up time for something new, such as the poetry contest. So yeah, definitely coming back, the poetry contest, hopefully this year. Photo contest, yes, hopefully this year. Short story contest, essay contest, a bit more difficult, because one of the things with poetry versus art, imagine you receive 1,500 art entries or 2,000 art entries like we do. You got to look at every single one. But art, I can look at art in 1 second. It only takes me 1 second to look at art and tell if it's worth another second of my time to look at. Okay? I hate to say it, but a lot of it is like next, because I've seen literally 10,000 pieces of frog art. Frog poetry, you got to read the poem. It takes a long time. So I do have volunteers who can do it, but it is a much more time-consuming process. Now, extend that into an essay contest, and it becomes pretty significant. Is it important? Yes. Does it take a team of volunteers to do it? Yes. Can I find the volunteers? Yes. So I do consider it something that can return an essay contest. But photos, art, I'd like to get a video contest back. Poetry contest, they will return. It's just some things they take a while to get going. All right, Dr. Sharma. Hi, Dr. Sharma. Maybe I'll play, if you're still there, chat in and just say hi, I'm still here, because I've been talking and I haven't played much music. And let's see. He says, it was an amazing session, insightful talks and melodious music time. Special thanks to Kerry for the detailed explanation of what goes into the selection of grants. All right, so Dr. Sharma, I think he's going on Indian television. I recorded some video for that. I don't know if that already happened. Maybe he's already checked out. He appears to be there. And since he's a big fan, and we have actually performed this piece of music together, and it's quite short, I'm going to play some Rajasthani Mand. He is in Rajasthan, probably right now. I visited him there in Rajasthan in India. And this is what we played. Rajasthani Mand going out to Dr. Krishan Kumar Sharma, original president of Save the Frogs India, professor, biologist, Save the Frogs Day event holder for many years. All right, Godwin in Nigeria. Hopefully I'm correct there. Happy Save the Frogs Day to all frog lovers. Thank you, Kerry, for the very informative talk on grant applications, and thank you, Godwin, for your dedication to the amphibians. And Margot Fass, a Frog House founder and Save the Frogs donor, says, I have a board member with a lot of good ideas and energy, but exciting projects that are in addition to the projects a Frog House already decided on. I told her, of course, if she's totally in charge of these new ideas. Good approach. Okay, so sounds like you have a board member. You're already booked to capacity with projects. Board member wants to do something that aligns with a Frog House's mission, and you say, sure, go for it if you're totally in charge. I like to not be like a bottleneck that like everything has to come through me, because I'm full and things will just get stopped up. So you do have to delegate and enable people. Two considerations though, or well, I'll just tell you what comes to mind is like, at some point everything comes back to me, and if I want it to be at the level that I want it to be, so like even if I say someone like, you want to write up an article, cool, you write the article. Am I prepared to take the time to add it to the website? Do I have a volunteer ready to add it to the website, to find the photos, etc.? Just as an example. So make sure that if that person does something, will it be taking up your time? Are you prepared for that? Is it very clear what resources you are prepared to provide to that board member? If it's a good project, yeah, you want to enable your dedicated volunteers. You want to enable them, but you do just have to decide, can we do this right now? Do we have the capacity? Do I personally have the capacity to do it? Let me go ahead, since this is still recording, I guess I can chop it later, but let me go ahead and officially end the Save the Frogs grant application discussion right now.